Hello, everyone. Happy Hum Day. It has been a while since I come on live on a Wednesday to teach our weekly Wednesday Facebook live tutorial. So I was away for the almost a whole month, right? The whole month of June, and I'm so glad to be back. If you are joining me on Facebook, make sure that you say hi, because right now there is another new update from Facebook that they completely eliminate the live streaming at all unless you live stream into Facebook, but using another app. So we have to work around it one more time. And if you're joining me on Facebook, make sure you say hi so I can see you. If you are joining me on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, say hi. And for those of you who's joining me the very first time, my name is May Yo Silvers. I am the owner of M2 Hospitality, a multiple six-figure profit event planning company, and I'm also the founder, event mentor, and coach for Events for Anyone, where we provide a mentorship program called the Unstoppable Eventrepreneur to help event planners, designers, decorators to start and grow the event planning company into a multiple six-figure profit business as well. I am going to assume that you can see me on Facebook, and if you're here with me, please let me know that I am live right now inside Facebook because I can see. All right. And then for those of you who's joining me on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn, thank you for giving me your time again today to let me teach you about today's topic, the buyer psychology of a high-end buyer. So, and you say you can see me. I will assume that you can see me on Facebook, right? Because I can see myself. So, but doesn't matter. I'm here to teach. It's not important that if I see myself or not, as long as if somebody tells me that you can see me on Facebook. So, and please confirm that you say you can see me on Facebook. Okay, that's all that matters. If worst case scenario, join me on Instagram at Mayo Silvers, or my YouTube channel, same thing, at Mayo Silvers, MAYYEOSILVERS, and or LinkedIn, which I am live right now over there. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the buyer psychology. Okay, what exactly is a buyer psychology? A buyer psychology basically means a decision-making process for making a decision to buy something. Okay, so a decision-making process to buy something. So what we want is to understand exactly what exactly is the decision-making process of a high-end buyer. So in this case, today's session, I'm going to talk about what are the thoughts that go into a high-end buyer when they are making a decision to hire you or not for their events. So there are a few criteria that you need to meet in order to get a high-end buyer. And in reality, it doesn't just apply to high-end buyers, but it applies to any buying decision that is after comparing the price. Okay, so the basic fundamental that the decision process goes through is the very first thing is your buyer must be able to understand that you can't deliver the services or the product that that you say that you're going to deliver. Okay, that's the most important thing. So they need to be able to have an understanding or know that you can deliver the service. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to focus a little bit more on delivering the service than an actual product. Okay, so they need to be able to determine that you have the skill set to be able to deliver the service that they require you to deliver in order to make their event a success. So they will first evaluate if you have the skill set or the resources to deliver the services needed or the expertise needed to make the event a reality. Okay, so the first thing is, so the lowest point of decision making process, or the number one factor, okay, or the first factor, put it this way, not number one, the first factor is they need to be able to see that or know that you have the skill set to do what you're supposed to do to make the event a success. The second thing that they need to pay attention to is, do you have the not just the skill set, okay? The next thing is the price, okay? How much does it cost to hire you? So once they determine that you have the skill set, all right? Once they determine that you have the skill set, then the next thing they're going to determine is, how much do you cost to be hired? What is your fee? So once they know that you can do the job, the next thing that they want to make sure is, can they afford you? That's the next thing, right? So when they see your price, okay, when they see your price, then they will be able to now make a decision if they want to be able, if they can hire you or not. So they determine you have the skill set, and then they also determine that your price is something that they want to pay. Then now you meet the two most important criteria in terms of making that decision. So the problem, when I say the problem, okay, or the challenge in business is this: the level of skill set or the level of expertise is readily available because we have many talented people in the events field to be able to plan events or design events or decorate events. The next thing is the pricing, okay? So the pricing fluctuates, right? I mentioned previously, why will there be two persons who are delivering the same amount of skill set, or who are displaying the same level of skill set, okay, that is required to get the event going? Why do they charge differently? They charge differently because of the internal financial numbers that the business owners are trying to hit. Maybe one business owner has a less aggressive income goal or profit goal, or has less overhead costs of operating the business, whereas the other business owner may have a more aggressive income goal or profit goal, okay, and also a higher cost of operating the business. Therefore, they need to charge more in order to deliver that service. So in this case, right, when the buyer is deciding who to hire, they will look at the skill set, and then they look at the pricing. So the person who's a price shopper. So the person who is planning to hire a planner or designer or decorator, if they are purely shopping based on price, that's where the decision making stop. Okay, they do not need to go beyond that. So they only stop when, okay, you say that you have the skill set, the expertise to get the job done, and this is your price, and I can afford to pay you. So it stops there. So they will only buy from people whom they know that they can do the job and they are the cheapest. So these are the price shoppers. But what happens if there is another person, another event planner, designer, or decorator who have the skill set, and the price is a little higher. Okay, it's a little higher. How can we compete with these people who is doing a price war or price bidding war or pricing themselves a lot lower? Why are there circumstances like this where even the people who have the lowest price still do not get the job, right? For those of you who have experienced something like that, that you speak to a potential buyer and then they say that you're too expensive, and then you decide to slash your fee, and you come to find out that they decided not to go with you, but they went with someone else, and you know that someone else that they hire charge a higher fee than you. Why did they decide to go with the person with a higher fee and not you, even though you are lower in price than everybody else? So in this case, right, we have this person, this planner or designer has positioned themselves in a way that they are not attracting price shoppers. Okay, so your potential client, you cannot assume that they are price shopping. That's the number one assumption that I want you all to stop assuming. Cannot assume that all your buyers are just price shoppers, because it will come to a point, there will be a probability, in fact a 50% chance, okay, if not more, if you have done a really good job, that your potential buyer may choose you, even though your price is higher than the other person that they have spoken with. And these people, these buyers, you do not know from the get-go until you get to spend a little bit more time when you are qualifying them. Okay, so what goes beyond the expertise and the price? What are these magic factors or the things that the high-end buyer are looking for when they make a decision that I do not just want to pay someone to do the job who can just get the job done? What, and also not be too concerned about how much it costs to hire the planner or designer. What are the factors, or what are the things that the high-end buyer are looking for in order to make the decision that I'm not going to pay the cheapest to get the cheapest designer or decorator or planner to get the job done. I'm looking for something more. So you will not know until you have an in-depth conversation with the potential buyer, and at the same time you are also doing a good job in marketing yourself. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So what are the things that go on in the high-end buyer? So after the price, okay, so there could be a possibility, and very likely it will happen because it happened to me many times. So I will tell you that it will happen to you as well, is when they talk to one person, a planner or a decorator or a designer, they got a price, okay? And then they talk to another person who can provide the same services and the expertise, but the price is higher. What made them decide to go with this person who's higher is now no longer about experience and the price. It's about how much do they, number one, okay, how much do they place the importance, okay, how much do they place the importance of making sure this event is a success? I know it may sound a little crazy. Every client will want the event to be a success, but some clients in reality are a little bit more flexible when the event is not 100 out of 100. It can be a 90 out of 100 or 80 out of the 100. As long as the event is happening and it check off majority of what they're looking for, they're not aiming for 100%. Whereas there will be situations or opportunities in this case where the client is looking for 100% guarantee, assurance, okay, that this event is not only going to be 100% successful, but beyond 100%. So now they are looking for someone that they not only know that they can do the job, get the job done, but actually go beyond what they're asking for. Okay? So, how do we know what is the beyond that they're looking for, right? When I when I have a conversation with a potential client, I ask for what is the must have and what is the nice to have, and what is the ultimate goal that they want to achieve. Everybody says that the ultimate goal is, oh, it's going to be a great party. I want everybody to be happy, etc., etc. Correct? Now, of course, that is the bare minimum, right? That you need to achieve, that the event happens and is successful on the surface, right? Successful on the surface. That means from the outsider point of view. But the whole planning process, okay, the lead up to the event may not be as smooth, but we still have the event happen. So those people, where I say that they are only expecting 80%, not 100% for the event success factor, they're looking at the end result, but they're not looking so much from the lead up, from the moment they hire you to the moment that the event is over. Okay, so they do not need to feel that there is a certain element that they needs to be fulfilled. I'm going to give you one example so that you can put all this context into place. Okay, in summary, when a high-end buyer is making a decision to hire someone who has a higher fee compared to another person who has a lower fee and said that they can do the same results, what is the decision factor that they will make them want to hire a person that is a higher fee is the trust factor. How much do they trust this planner, designer, decorator to get the job done? And really, the vibe of that planner and designer, where from the moment I hire this person to the moment that the event is over, I know that I don't have to worry about a single thing. Not only do I not have to worry that the event is going to be a success, which is the bare minimum requirement, but I know that the entire process is going to be a breeze. It doesn't require a lot of my involvement. I can trust this person to not only get the job done, but also based on the conversation I have with this person and based on their social media campaign or their marketing message, I know that this person has a level of expertise that goes beyond what I need her to do for my event. So there is a trust level there that this planner and designer has cultivated through her marketing message, through her interaction with her audience, either in person or virtually, and also on the conversation on the phone call or Zoom call with the potential client. They are able to instill that trust that if you work with me, this is how I work, and this is my process. They are able to make that buyer be comfortable that this entire process is going to be without any glitches. They have already anticipated XYZ ABC to happen. So they have plan A to plan D to counteract if there's anything were to happen. They will make sure that they have a solution for it. So they are able to cultivate that trust with the high-end buyer, whereas the other person who is able to get the job done may be cheaper, but their conversation with the potential buyer could only be talking about, yes, this is what you need, I can get it done. But there is no beyond that. There is no conversation beyond getting the minimum done. So there is no conversation or expanded thinking, put it this way, that they are making an effort to make the client feel safe to hire them. Because their job, okay, if you are a planner and a designer and you're winning a gig based on price, that means you probably will win a lot of gigs, okay? Because you're the cheapest, because there are a good percentage of people who are just price shopping. When you are getting a lot of gigs booked, because you get a lot of price shoppers, client, that also means that you will not have so much time to dedicate in doing a thorough qualification process and also having a thorough sales conversation to upsell and to really understand not just the surface needs of the high-end buyer, but the unspoken needs of the high-end buyer. If you attention both the surface needs and the unspoken needs, that's when you can ask for a higher fee, because now you are unrevealing, okay, those unspoken needs to the surface that your buyer may not even know to anticipate that this is a potential problem that could happen, or, oh, this is another level that we can incorporate to make the event 2,000% instead of 100%. So you may not have all this time to do all this conversation, okay? Because you're price bidding. So all you want to do is book, book, book. So you don't even invest the time to talk to your potential clients and do a thorough conversation or a thorough qualification process. So in your sales conversation, you want to be able to ask questions that is able to unveil those unspoken needs. This is where trust is being built in conjunction to your consistent marketing messages. I make it a point to always explain my process, my thought process of how I solve a problem, and also my process of working with a client from A to Z, and what is our company's standard operating procedure. I'm extremely transparent in my marketing message about how I solve a problem. So anyone who watched my social media or had an opportunity to meet with me one-on-one and they tell me that they want to do an event, I will not be hesitant to share with them this is how I would do it, because I'm not concerned that they will take my methods and go do it. If they want to take my methods and strategies and tactics to go do it, they can go do it themselves. Then they are not my client. My client are people who, even though they may have the skills and the resources to want to do it, they choose not to do it because they don't want to spend their time or energy in doing it themselves. That is the ultimate underlining criteria for me to work with anyone who have already made the decision that they do not want to take on the job themselves, even though they may have the resources or the expertise. So I'm not concerned to share my whole procedure, my process, my thought process, and how I get it done so that it's a 2,000% success rate and not just 100% success rate. So in this conversation, again, and I also ask a lot of questions, provocating questions, to uncover why my client wants things done a certain way, or why is it important for them to have this event, and why is this success factor so important. I take the time to ask all that. So this opportunity allows me to build the trust in addition to my consistent marketing messages of how our company operates and the process and the systems. So they know that, number one, I not only have the skill, okay, and the expertise, I'm also super legit. I have case studies to share. I have testimonials to share. So they know that I'm not a fly-by-night. They know that I'm here to stay. They know that I have the level of expertise and the support and the resources to make it happen for them. So the second thing after knowing that you have the expertise, after knowing that your price and they feel that they can afford your price or they're willing to expand their budget, the next thing they're looking for is the trust. Can I trust you to do this event that I don't even have to interfere, right? I don't even have to worry that things are getting done, okay? I have constant communication. I will get constant communication from you and keep me updated about what's going on. So I don't even have to reach out to you. I trust that you will take care of all the things for the event. Okay, I trust that you know my vision for the event because you have asked me many questions and you have a very clear idea of my direction. So the high-end buyer buys trust Okay, so they are willing to pay a bit more for that trust. Now, what is the last thing that they're looking for? You can satisfy the checkbox on the level of expertise. You can also satisfy the checkbox of the price because they are willing to stretch their budget or you're within their budget. Now, if you have checked the checkbox of trust, you are like a little bit further away from clinching the deal. What's the last thing? The vibe. Okay, the vibe. Do they like you? Do they like how you are as a person? Do they like how you speak? Do they like how you think? Do they like your point of view, your personality, your energy, right? This is something that is not at the forefront of a buyer's mind because they're not going to tell you, oh, I'm going to select somebody based on because I like that person. They will be very practical, just like we are taught to live in a practical fashion and a practical decision-making process. The first few things will be, can I afford you? Can you do the job, right? They will not be thinking that, oh, I'm going to hire this person because she's so likable, even though she may not know how to get the job done, she's a little expensive. No, you need to fit you need to check box those two first. And then what is going to make you stand out is the level of trust that you built with your potential buyer, okay, through your marketing messages and through your conversation. And then it's the vibe. You got to be who you are. Do you know, like those people who say that they have a client who is a nightmare client or a bridezilla or even a corporate event, have a client that is extremely difficult? Why? It's really not the fault of your potential client. It's because you haven't set your expectation or your boundaries clearly in your marketing message and also in the conversation. You want to be able to make it so clear about who you are as a person and what kind of clients you want to work with. And you also want to encourage your potential client to show their true colors so you can decide whether you want to work with them. When I speak to when I am teaching, you can feel my passion. When you listen to my podcast, you can feel the fire behind my podcast, right? So every time I teach, I'm extremely passionate. When I plan an event, same thing, okay? When my client tells me, a potential client tells me about the vision of their event, I am not afraid to challenge them. I'm not afraid to ask them questions. Why do you want this? Why do you think this is important? Because this is how I am as a person. When I plan events, when someone hires me as their event planner, I am not an order taker, and I'll be very clear about that. I will be very clear to my potential client that I will not follow everything you ask me to do. I will question you, I will challenge you, and then we will come to an understanding that this is something that you want, or this is something that you think you want. And does it make sense? My job is to make sure that she's able to have a successful event at the lowest cost as possible. So if my potential client asks me that, oh, I want to pay for a speaker that's $40,000, the very first question I'm going to ask is, okay, what is this speaker that you're paying $40,000 going to bring to your event? What is the return on investment on that? Whereas other event planners will be like, okay, all right, so give me the contact of this speaker. Let me go coordinate and book this speaker. I am not like this. I am extremely clear in my marketing message that I am not going to just accept whatever you say. I'm going to challenge you. And then if you still want to go that direction, at least I already understand your thought process. And then I'm going to ask myself, do I want to work with this client even though I don't agree with the thought process? Is it going to hinder how I work, etc., and the end result of the event? I'm going to ask myself this question. If I feel that because of what she wants doesn't align with how I work to get her the best result, I wouldn't take on this client. I'll be very honest with this client. And so many clients that I have right now appreciate that, because they know that they're not working with an order taker. They're working with an event strategist. So many of you are so afraid to show up on social media and show your your personality, because maybe somebody have told you that you may not have a pretty face, or you don't speak well, or you are not professional enough. Are you sure you can actually do this? Or for whatever reason, you are holding yourself back, right? I will tell you that is how you attract your bridezilla and your non-ideal clients, because they have no idea who you are as a person. They have no idea what is your thought process. They have no idea what is your point of view. And you probably did not encourage them for them to be who they are in that conversation, because you are not being who you are. So everybody is being nicey. And then what happened? When it come into the planning process, we get a lot of hiccups, because nobody dares to say what they really want. Okay? So in this case, when I leave it all out on the table, when this person decide to contact me to plan their events, okay, especially when they know that this is an event that is extremely important to them, and they do not want to be heavily involved. They want to be able to trust that person, and they know that because it's a big event, they need to be able to like this person enough to want to work with that person. They would have already asked people about me, or they would have checked out my marketing content to get a feel of who I am as a person and how I solve problem, the type of clients I work with. So all this is in combination of building the trust and also getting a vibe, okay, of how I work. That is beyond just validating that I have the level of expertise, and also my price is something that they are willing to stretch their budget. So if you want to understand the buyer psychology of a high-end buyer, know that you cannot assume everybody is a price shopper. Okay? Price is never the objection unless you're dealing with a price shopper. Okay? When you're dealing with a price shopper, they don't care. They don't care whether they like you or not. They also don't care whether they trust you. They are trusting you based on one thing. You said that you can do this job, and you have shown me that you can do this job, then get the job done. They are not interested in getting a 2,000% of satisfaction. 100% is good enough for them. All right? Because they have not been exposed to a 2,000% satisfaction of their event, because nobody they have spoken with have exposed them to the possibility. So take your time. All I can say is take your time when you're having a sales conversation to ask beyond the basic needs. Go beyond the basic needs. Go ask question. Why do you want this? Why is this thing important to you? What happens if you don't have this? How are you going to how would you feel if you actually have this? How about that? Not only will you have this, you have that. What do you feel about that? These are the things that is going to help you upsell and also continue to assert that you're authority in the field. So at the same time, you're not only upselling them, but you're also instilling the trust and them, allowing them to come into your world of how you function as a planner, designer, and decorator, your creativity, your problem-solving skills, okay, your negotiation skills. Let them see who you are. And then they will decide, do I want you? Am I willing to pay your fees? So every time you market yourself, make sure that you are who you are. Do not hide, okay? Do not hide your personality. I saw some posts on Instagram, which is really funny. I think a couple of months back, that in fact, some of you who are following me, I saw your post that you show a very nice picture of yourself when you are talking to your potential client, and then you show who you are in real life, that you are twerking around, and having bombs, like a sake bomb and stuff like that. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to show that to your client, because they may be like that too. So the last factor is the vibe. They will be like, okay, I know May is super professional when she comes to doing the job or getting the job done, but she also has this side of her that is very funny. I've seen her post about this or that, or she also has a side of her that she has a very soft heart, even though when you see her, she seems pretty hardcore. So they will know who I am already as a person. So let them know who you are as a person. Okay. Well, thank you so much for giving me your time again. It went a little bit over. As you can tell, this is a topic that I'm super, super passionate about. So in summary, this is what you need to understand when it comes to the buyer psychology of a high-end client. Okay, the buying psychology of a high-end client. Got to make sure that you have the level of expertise and the resources to get the job done. Okay, be very clear to communicate your price out front. Don't wait to drop the price when they get on a call with you. You must already communicate how much you cost so that if they decide to call you, they already know how much it costs to hire you. So these two, okay, are your qualifiers, basic qualifiers. Then concurrently, when you're having the sales conversation, make sure you ask questions beyond the surface needs. Ask questions that is the unseen needs. Why do you want that? Why is it important for you to have a planner? Why is it important for you to have this or that? And at the same time, make sure that when you're marketing your business, show who you are as a person. Explain your thought process, explain your decision-making process and your procedures on how you get the job done. So they have a very clear understanding that you not only have the expertise to do the job, but this is the process, and they feel comfortable and trust you with your process. And the last thing is your vibe. That's why I say it's so important to showcase who you are as a person. So they may hire you based on your moral values, your ethics, and your vibe. There are circumstances that there are people who only want to hire people who have the same faith as them, who have the same political viewpoint as them, who has the same moral ethics as them. So don't be afraid to lay it all out, okay? That's where you can reduce the possibility of working with someone who is not your ideal client, all right? Thank you so much for giving me your time today. I appreciate you as always. Next week, I will not be teaching live. I will be dropping a video. So make sure you watch that video. I can't record the top of my head what exactly is the topic, but you will be made aware, I assure you. So for those of you who are joining me on Instagram, in order to watch that video, you will have to join our Facebook group, Events for Anyone, EVENTS, number 4, anyone. So search that on Facebook and you'll be able to join our group, and then you'll be able to watch that video. All right. Thank you so much once again for your time today. I wish all of you a fun and a safe July 4th. Take the time to celebrate the beautiful country we live in, and also Memorial Day is over, but that doesn't mean that we stop thanking the people who serve our country, who give their life out for our country to be able to live in this beautiful country that we are in right now. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your weekend.